Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we're at property address 8524 North Endicott Avenue here in Portland. Located just to the right of the front doorway. You've got a 4-inch ABS cleanout here as our point of access. We're going to insert the camera and check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Water's currently running. We are zeroed out. Off we go. So this is my second run at this thing. I keep having equipment problems, I think because of the cold. We run into some standing water here in just a moment. We're going to take a look at this on the way out when the line is fully drained. Right in here. Anytime we have water running, we always get an exaggerated look. And we'll see how much water is actually left over there all said and done. When I stop and let the water settle into place, my camera creates a little bit of a wake in front of it, so it always makes things look far worse than it is until you let things settle. That belly there may only have around 1/4 inch of standing water in it. You know, and if it drains out to that level, you know, a belly of that size is one I would barely even mention if this were a home that was like a, you know, 5, 10, 15-year-old home. Swapping over to 4-inch 3034 PVC pipe here. Camera's upside down right now. That's our secondary cleanout access right up ahead there, and we also have a Y coming in. Again, my camera's upside down, so it's kind of reverse of what you're seeing there. Pipes are coming in from that front unit. One of those is the pipe coming in directly, the top of the pipe, which is right in front of us, is a secondary cleanout. This tie-in right here is from a neighbor's line tying in, one of the attached units to this home. Very normal, common setup for this type of house or building. Another spot there with some standing water we'll take a look at here in just a moment when it's drained. And then there's the main lateral connection right there at about 64 feet. The line pretty much just stays on this side of the building. It doesn't run a perfectly straight line, but pretty darn close to it. The line swings out underneath the walkway here and essentially runs down the walkway. You can see some secondary cleanouts out near the curb. Some big steel plate covers in the concrete there. Those are sitting over top of the cleanout, and those are basically directly in line with where the pipe is at. Kind of gives you a visual on where the pipe is running. Anyway, we're going to go locate really quick while the pipe drains out here, and then we'll take a second look at everything. Alright, I located the camera head out on North Endicott Avenue. And this actually makes it very easy to figure out where the line goes beyond the cleanout accesses that kind of show you where the line's at. Out at the curb, kind of lines up with the right side, or close to the right side property line anyway. You'll see a green plastic circle in the curb stamp. That's right where the sewer line crosses the curb into the street. Alright, so got this little guy here. This one dissipates off at around 59 feet. Keep in mind, we've got people actively living in the homes here. Not every single one of them, but there are people living here right now. You have just the ever so slightest amount of little teeny tiny bit of grease there, a little bit of mildew growth. That is a teeny little thing, that belly there. If I didn't mention already, and I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself here, you know, about 10 years ago, I'm sure I've mentioned this too. This is just for the sake of understanding where this comes from. I've been doing this 13 years, cambered about 24 or 5,000 sewer lines now. About 10 years ago, I came up with the 5-foot belly rule. At the 5-foot mark, or 5-foot length of pipe with an inch of water, or at least an inch of water, that's with no water running at all, that is where I start to consider repairs. It's at that point where you will start to see regular old toilet paper slow down, if not come to potentially a stop in the belly. It really depends on the configuration of the line prior to it, and every line's different. You take a massive belly with 4 inches of water in it, pipe's completely submerged, and it's a 30-foot section like that, and you put that at the base of a super steep hillside. That belly, which would normally be looked at, is very significant. It has almost no chance of ever causing a problem because of the amount of gravity working in the favor behind it. Everything's ripping through there too fast. So that's what I mean. Every belly is a little bit different. It does depend on the configuration of the line. But anyway, most bellies that are at the 5-foot mark with an inch of water, very rarely do I recommend they be fixed. The only time I ever do that is when they are very close proximity to the home, and also either in very small diameter pipe, like 3-inch pipe, but mostly in older pipe materials that are very rough textured, where you've got the standing water slowing things down, but on top of that, you have very rough pipe walls that snag and grab that debris as it moves through there slowly. So that combination's not one I like. But otherwise, bellies in plastic sewer lines, they are something that has been hugely blown out of proportion, especially in real estate transactions. Plain and simple, in plastic sewer lines like this, even with quite significant bellies, it still almost entirely comes down to the homeowner and how they're treating the sewer line. If you're not feeding the line stuff that is improper, that does not disintegrate properly on its own, that by and large is the stuff that gets you with a belly. The only time you'll see much in the way of blockages happening with proper usage items, which basically is just toilet paper. Flushable wipes have no business going down your sewer line. They're almost as terrible as paper towels are. Is if you're flushing a lot of very large balled up toilet paper down the line and doing it in close succession. And that also is an improper item. They're far too dense. It's not intended to go down a sewer line. Anyway, that belly out there is way too tiny, even for new construction, to recommend a fix on. That I can barely call that a belly. It's so small. You know, and sometimes the one thing you will get consistently hanging up in standing water, and it will build up anywhere in your sewer line, but it likes to concentrate more so in standing water, is cooking oil, grease, fats in general. You dump in your frying pans down the sink. The grease will start hardening up and build up pretty much anywhere as soon as it cools down, but does more so in standing water. If you by chance have a neighbor in here that's got a really bad habit of dumping lots of grease down the line, you know, I'd rather see, rather than start tearing things up and run the risk of having a bad spot repair, which happens a lot. People will go crazy spot repairing these things, and you'll end up with, and it happens frequently, where someone spot repairs a 5-foot section or whatever out of the line, and they don't bed the line properly, and you go back to scope it 2 years later when the house sells, and that little belly they tried to repair ends up with an offset joint and a belly, and you have a much worse problem you had to begin with. It's just not worth monkeying with these things unless it's significant enough to warrant doing it. So, but anyway, I'd rather see if someone was really gunking the pipes up, doing periodic hydrojetting to keep buildup down. That right there is some cobwebs and a little bit of excess pipe glue, it looks like. Mostly cobwebs there. Alright, we're starting to get back into this other area here with some standing water in it. For the most part, it looks like this is dissipating off. That tapers off to such a small amount, it's hard to even see where this thing stops at. And my camera's kind of scooting some of the water along here. Maybe right around probably 19 feet. Although if you look at that water right there, it's actually moving forward. This part of the line here is it's a little bit flat. It looks like looks like it's still looks like a little bit of grade. Right there is the first time I've actually seen the water kind of ripple back and forth. So it's around 18 feet where that little belly dissipates off there. Thus far, what you're looking at is about a 32nd of an inch. It's not even enough water to occupy the full width of the flow line. That is a teeny little belly. We'll see if it gets any deeper than that, but yeah, that is a very, very minor amount of standing water. The only thing, and even for new construction, both those bellies are way too small to require repairs, in my opinion. So that one's running from about a 1/16 to maybe a 1/4 inch, and about the same thing for the belly further out. Anyway, all the pipe here is intact, in good condition, clean. Those are doing very, very little to affect functionality. You could always check with the builder to see if they offer a 1-year warranty. And I think this building's been here a while. The lines that make me more nervous, you know, anytime you have a warranty and you've got even some minor defects like that, I usually recommend you rescope the line if you have a 1-year warranty, around 10 months into the 1-year warranty. You give the line a chance to sit. If it's going to do any further or progressive settling, you're going to see it at that point. And if you're not seeing it at 10 months, any progression, it's not going to happen at all. Most settling happens almost instantaneously after a line is buried. Sometimes you'll get some progression in the first few weeks it's been in the ground. I do catch a handful, and I mean, like, I'm talking 2%, maybe 5% of them. The overwhelming majority of them, I come back, I'm talking like 9 times out of 10, if not better, a year later, and they look exactly the same. Generally speaking, in order for a belly to be progressive, you've got to have some, pipe joints that are open to the ground that are sucking the dirt out from underneath the pipe that's supporting it. That can cause progressive settling, and or some kind of unusual environmental factors that are unlikely, like very high water tables where the ground is just sopping wet all the time, which you don't have here. So we have good flow all the way to the main lateral connection. Both the belly from 13 to 18 feet and 54 to 59 feet are far too minor, in my opinion, to require repairs even for new construction. If it's got a 1-year warranty on it, it wouldn't hurt to take a look at it around 10 months to see if anything's progressed. I think it's very unlikely you're going to see changes. I believe this building's been here a while. It's the lines that have only been in the ground for a few weeks that are the ones that, by and large, make me nervous. If the line's been in the ground for 3 to 6 months or so, it's the chances of it shifting any further are almost zero. So anyway, good looking sewer line there. A couple minor defects in there, just that, very minor. Line is functioning properly at this time.